City Chiefs and the Detroit Lions in a battle of unbeatens. This was offense at close to its best. Matthew Stafford threw a touchdown pass to Kenny Golladay to put Detroit up 30-27 with just 2:26 remaining. And then Patrick Mahomes went 13 plays and 79 yards to score with 20 seconds left and win 34-30. Wilbon, did this tell us more about the Chiefs or the Lions?
The Lions, Tony. We've known the Chiefs are really, really good. Not only are they entertaining, but they probably are atop most people's power rankings. People have that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
One of those two teams.
Yeah.
Okay. And certainly the Chiefs aren't below number 2.
No.
All right. So we know about them. The Lions, nobody knows them. You mentioned the guy. I'm glad you mentioned. People know them in Illinois, Michigan, Wisconsin. Nobody knows Minnesota, Upper Midwest. No one knows.
Well, they're
Kenny
in the best
Golladay.
division in football.
That's right.
They are in the best division of football.
And statistically, in terms of out of division games, yes, we are number 1 in that division. So, Tony, I mean, Mahomes, they went tit for tat with Kansas City back and forth. And if it wasn't for what I thought was sort of a bogus touchdown, where you can pick the ball up when unseen from underneath a pile and run 2 blocks the other way, Detroit could have won this game. It was there for them to win.
Detroit has been overlooked because they've been bad for a lot of years.
They have been.
They got tied in the first game by Arizona, bad team. Then they came back, they beat the Chargers. They beat the Eagles. Eagles, pretty good team. And they could have won this game yesterday. And Matthew Stafford can get a lot of yards. He's a really good quarterback. I'm tempted to agree with you that we learn more about the Lions, but we do learn something about the Chiefs, and it's important.
What?
When you go on the road and you win a game like this and you win it late, this is an establishment. Now, Andy Reid is a great regular season coach, maybe not great in the playoffs, but this shows you how good they are. My sense of this is there's a lot of slurpage of a lot of young quarterbacks out there. And the young quarterback who's the best quarterback is Mahomes. He's better right now than Aaron Rodgers.
He's great. He doesn't even have all his weapons. And he has a guy people might have thought was over the hill in LaShawn McCoy, who's not over the hill, who's contributed in a timely fashion.
Yeah.
But, Tony, the Lions are the team. I think more people watch that game and went, oh, really?
They're a good team.
I didn't know they had that.
Pretty good team.
They're pretty good. I'm glad they lost that game for my purposes. Tony, Chiefs-Lions had enough scoring to satisfy you.
Yep.
Saints-Cowboys had enough defense to excite me. The Saints, for the first time in 21 years, won a game without scoring a touchdown. 4 field goals beat them Cowboys. Of course, the Dallas coaches and players talked about what they didn't do. But the fact is, the Saints defense was great. Held Zeke Elliott to just 35 yards on 18 carries. And yes, it was aided by a couple of big Cowboys mistakes. Still, was this a good team beating a good team, or did the Saints somehow expose the Cowboys?
Well, I think these are 2 good teams, and I think the bullet point that you raise is very important. Ezekiel Elliott is a premier back, and you give him the ball 18 times, he only gets 35 yards. That's great defense. If you looked at that establishing shot, you saw the guy next to Drew Brees was Sean Payton, and I think it's time we say something about Sean Payton. He has coached up Teddy Bridgewater so that they are 2-0 without Drew Brees, and he is at least overseeing this defense. He may not do it minute by minute, but that's the best defense that they have had in a very, very long time. I'm surprised. This is like when the Milwaukee Brewers went like 11-1 without Christian Yelich recently.
Yeah.
To do this without Drew Brees is a big deal. If you want to look at the Cowboys, you can say this, and let me get the glasses out because I want to get the teams in order.
Okay.
They beat the Giants, they beat the Redskins, and they beat who else? They beat the Dolphins. So this
Two of those are over.
This is before Daniel Jones got there.
Yep.
Eli's in. So those are 0-10 combined. So you might say they're a little bit overrated, but I think they're a good team.
Yeah, I'm not going to say the Cowboys are overrated. I thought if the Cowboys had won last night, I would have put them clearly atop if they'd been 4-0, sort of the NFC part of the power rankings. But, Tony, I'm going to agree with you about Sean Payton and the Saints and seeming to have, a chemistry about them right now that they don't always have. Because it's often offense versus defense. You get a defensive coordinator in there, and they go their own way, and the offense is going a different way with Drew Brees. That doesn't seem to be the case. And then, you know what? If Drew Brees, let's say he's going to miss 6 games. If they could go 3-3, you would still feel pretty good. Well, Teddy Bridgewater's already won 2 of those. He's 2-0.
He's 2-0.
Good for them.
Yeah, no, that's so.
That was a big result.
I was surprised at that.
Big result last
I was surprised at that one. The biggest win yesterday may well have belonged to the Cleveland Browns. They went into Baltimore amid Ravens players making fun of Baker Mayfield. They dominated the Ravens 40-25. Mayfield was much better than Lamar Jackson. And the Browns walked out of Baltimore in first place in this division. Wilbon, you have savaged the Browns and Baker Mayfield.
Yeah.
Did they change your opinion yesterday?
They started going someplace where they ought to have been. That's the place where when the music played, the Browns were standing around doing this, and then they laid an egg at home in week 1. So they're back on their feet. They're not on their knees anymore. But this is what they're supposed to do. In terms of Baker Mayfield, when you can do this, I don't know, 10 to 14 times in a year, including the playoffs, then everybody can salute you. Until then,
Baker Mayfield, not unlike your favorite athlete of all time in this regard, he said, keep talking trash at us.
Yeah.
Fueled by anger by what people say,
that's
or
good.
in Jordan's case,
real
don't actually
or
say.
perceived.
That's exactly
it's
right.
good.
That's exactly
But you
right.
better win them.
Can I?
And by the way, we can't let the Baltimore Ravens off the hook.
No, I want to raise
because that defense.
I want to raise a point about their defense.
They were smelly.
In the last 2 games, they have allowed over 1,000 yards and 73 points. This is their signature defense,
Yeah.
and it did not exist. I don't know what is going on there, but they ought to shut up about anything and everything and go win some games.
They need to shut up, Tony, because when you allow those kind of, when you see Chubb running up and down the field
Yeah.
like it's the playground. I mean, that looked like Oklahoma versus Kansas. And you're not used to the Baltimore Ravens being the Kansas defense. What were they doing?
530 yards
maybe
they
there
gave
ought to
up,
be
Mike.
less obsession with Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson was okay yesterday. He wasn't bad.
Mayfield was better.
Mayfield was better, but that's not what lost the game.
No.
When you're at home
Defense.
and you can't stop a running back from running all over you and embarrassing you,
Yeah.
they looked like the chumps yesterday, the Baltimore Ravens.
It's a bad division, and they could still win it.
And
they
listen,
could still
I
win it.
expect them to get it right, but they better start getting it right like next week. At about 7 p.m. Eastern yesterday, Tony, I answered my phone, and there
Hello.
you are, shrieking about the L.A. Rams and how this loss to Tampa is the shock of the day. Did I get that right?
Yes.
And giving up 55 to the Buccaneers should at least be embarrassing for a team that was just in the Super Bowl. Also, the Rams threw the ball 68 times, which is the 3rd highest number of passes ever attempted in an NFL game. All in all, Tony, do we now need to be suspicious of the Rams?
So I think in the course of a football season, which is different than basketball and baseball, there's a million games. In the course of a football season, every team, even a very good team, has a clinker here and there. Clinker here and there. We're going to find out more on Thursday when they go to Seattle. We're going to see. If they get blowed out in Seattle, then we have overrated them. And there is, historically, teams that lose in the Super Bowls, unless they're the Patriots. Other teams that lose in the Super Bowls fall down a little bit. The Atlanta Falcons, you fall down a little bit. I mean, there are things I would worry about. Jared Goff, this year, Mike, has 6 touchdown passes and 6 interceptions. That's
a
not good
1970
enough.
stat.
That's not good
That was
enough.
okay then.
Not good enough.
Tony, my problem goes back to that 68. I mean, you
Can't
know,
pass that many times.
you shouldn't be. Either you can't get behind like that, particularly at home. I mean, who died?
21-0.
Jameis Winston, Joe Montana. So all of a sudden, he's going up and down the field on them. And even when they get back in the game, I called you back and I said, don't get carried away.
Yeah.
The Rams are about to come back. They're going to win this game.
Yeah.
And they kept throwing stupid passes. There's a running back that the Los Angeles Rams have, and we still don't seem to know what it is they feel about him in their hearts, in their souls, but they better start relying on him
Let
more.
me go back to one point here about Jameis Winston, because Bruce Arians was brought in to whisper to Jameis Winston and make him better. Winston was terrible in the first game. He threw 3 picks in the first game.
He's been better.
Since that
A lot
point,
better.
they've won twice. They should have won a 3rd time. They missed a 34-yard field goal that Carly Lloyd would have made without sweating.
The Giants.
And Jameis Winston
won
has
3 in a row.
8 touchdown passes and 2 picks. So maybe Bruce Arians is
Getting to him. That's why they brought him in.
Maybe.
Why they brought him in.
Vontez Burfict was tossed out of Oakland's game yesterday for his helmet-to-helmet hit on Indianapolis's Jack Doyle. It did not end there. Today, the NFL suspended Burfict for the rest of this season and for any playoff games that might occur. Burfict is a repeat offender, and today the league said, quote, there were no mitigating circumstances on this play.
None.
Your contact was unnecessary, flagrant, and should have been avoided, unquote. Wilbon, is a suspension of this length justified?
It'd be justifiable to suspend him for 2 years or 5 years. Vontez Burfict has played like a thug
Yep.
for a long time.
Yep.
He tries to lay
Cincinnati,
people
too.
out
Yep.
at a
Yep.
time in which his employer, his union, his teammates and opponents who may have been his friends or college teammates, people have said, okay, we understand this is the way it used to be. This is not 1970. This is how you need to play now. He has been suspended time after time after time.
That's right.
It has cost him tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars.
No, it's cost him $5 million over the course of his
So
career.
if you want to be this big a fool consistently, the league needs to say to you, get out.
So I am not going to sit here and defend Vontaze Burfict, but, and there's a large but for me, he has been suspended twice, each time for 4 games. To me, you go 4-8 out.
Okay.
4-8 out.
Okay.
You don't go 4-12. And I don't want to know that they put in some padding so if it was knocked down on appeal, it would go down to 8, because a suspension is a suspension. I think it's
But there
too
have been
much
other
because of his history.
There
I
have been
understand.
other suspensions,
I understand.
Tony, and his history warrants get out.
Yeah, his history's tough.
And you know
But
what? You know what would be
12 games.
tough? And I know this would
Was
be
he in London and just returned from London?
This is a
with the Reds?
position that DeMaurice Smith, he can't take this position. But I'd almost go as far as the union, at least privately, going to him saying, dude,
What are you doing?
we're a membership. We're a fraternity in addition to competitors. What the hell do you think you're doing?
Let's take a break. Coming up, should Bills fans be happy about almost beating the Patriots?
And how should the Giants and Redskins feel about their rookie quarterbacks after yesterday?
I'm just saying you don't go 4-12.
Yeah, you do. You go 4-8
out.
You go 4-32. Get out.
4-32.
Get out.
So you ended his career.
Good.
Bills fan, would you be happy with yesterday's result?
I mean, I wouldn't be happy, but I would be encouraged. I mean, you're out there and you're in contention when Josh Allen is in the game, and even after he gets knocked out, literally KO'd and is in a tent, you put Matt Barkley in there, you still got a chance to win. That defense, and I know you know this, there were several times in which Tom Brady was running the other way and simply threw the ball away like hot potato, and they looked bad. But New England's defense is so damn stout, Tony.
Yeah,
they won that
27
game.
points.
But if I'm the Buffalo fan base, I feel very good about what I saw yesterday.
Well, as somebody who went to school in upstate New York and knows some of these Buffalo fans, I would tell you I'd be very, very upset. And I'll tell you
Why?
I'll tell you why. Because I'm going to give you Tom Brady's statistics. He was 18 for 39 for 150 yards.
Who made him do
He
that?
threw 39 times for 150 yards.
Who made him do
That's
that?
the worst Tom Brady has ever been.
Why was he
was
bad?
a high schooler. Buffalo's defense.
Yes.
But you know what? You got to score as well. I would feel they're not going to get Brady like this again.
Yes, they
and
might.
that was their
They
time
might.
to win. I would be upset.
As an aside, remember last weekend when we largely overlooked or ignored Brady saying, I'm no spring chicken?
Yeah.
And he was sort of joking about his age and
he's
how
no
the
spring
demands
chicken.
of the sport during the week even are taxing. Should we have been paying more attention to
I
that?
don't know if we're going to read anything into it. They have the Redskins next.
Not this week. We'll be waiting at least a couple of weeks down the road. Are the Broncos a bad luck team or just bad?
You can be both. You have to have bad luck and be bad to get to 0-4. They have twice been beaten on last-second field
Bears
goals
on a field
after
goal.
taking the lead in the last 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Look, Joe Flacco deserved a better fate yesterday. He took them right down the field. But Gardner Minshew II has magic in his
kind of
hands.
tackling is that?
This is magic. And Leonard Fournette, right? Did he gain 225 yards on the ground? It's a heartbreaking moment for Denver again. They're bad, but you got to be unlucky too.
You know, I was looking at their schedule, wondering, okay, could they just get it together and just be 5% better and go 4-4? Boom, they're right back in it.
Oh, no.
And I look at their schedule
no.
of at Chargers, Titans is a game they must win at home, Chiefs at home, which is tough now no matter where it is, and then at Colts. I mean, Tony, they could lose three.
What about
of
your
those
boy,
four.
Vic Fangio? He was sold as a defensive guru.
Yeah.
Chicago's just as good without him,
Well,
and Denver isn't any good.
I guess it's the Tommies and Joes and not just the X's and O's.
Must be. Bigger story. Daniel Jones winning again or Dwayne Haskins struggling in his debut?
It's Dwayne Haskins because the Redskins were stupid yesterday. All week long, I thought that Coach Gruden did the right thing by saying he's not ready to be out there. He's not ready. And I'm not going to put him out there just because some idiots are calling for him to be out there. When he gets there, we know he will be, we'll do it. They're down 14. It wasn't the kid's fault, and he just throws them in there as if to say, okay, I'm going to satisfy you fools now and give you what you want, and let's see how bad this turns out. And it turned out bad. The Redskins they major in stupid as an organization.
Haskins was terrible.
He was.
He threw less than 20 passes,
when they put him
and
in,
3 were picked off.
What did you think when you saw him trot on the field?
I thought it was a mistake.
Of course it
and
was.
you're going to play him next week against the Patriots?
No,
you better
they're not
not.
going to play him next
So they're a dumpster fire at the moment. And that's why the bigger story is Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones is 2-0.
He wasn't great yesterday.
He wasn't great, but he's 2-0. He's done this without making fun of Eli Manning. He's done this without Saquon Barkley.
Yes.
He's done this without Odell Beckham
Good for him.
Jr.
But
all of that.
Yesterday, your Redskins
terrible.
were the story. They
terrible.
Were awful.
No, Daniel Jones.
Who's on the quarterback? Your boy Colt McCoy? You going to put him back in there?
No, you put Keenum back in against the Patriots.
Did Mac Brown do the right thing going for 2?
So if that was a coach who was 31 or 32 years old and the first head coaching job,
I'd have applauded it.
I think you would have questioned it. Because at home, you can play to tie, you can play to go the overtime. Mac Brown is 68 years old, something like that, 68. He's in the College Football Hall of Fame. He wanted to knock off the #1